Hey, welcome to the CT Sports Talent Show. My name is Chris Saunders, and I'm pleased to have on with me from the East Windsor Baseball program. The head coach, Darron Jones, is with me. Coach, I appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate you having me, Chris.
Coach, as we kind of enter the part of the season where hopefully the worst weather is behind us, right? I mean, we had that spell of a couple of days with all the rain. I know I saw teams, I don't know, specifically for you, but I know some of the teams in the NVL in my neck of the woods were playing some games yesterday, some double headers. Some were trying to get the games that were missed early on. Are we hoping for better weather as the days now continue to kind of lessen that?
Absolutely. Weather being in New England is one of the unfortunate things you have to deal with. Trying to be outside, then realizing you can't because the field's too wet. Trying to be outside, then you realize there's 4 inches of snow. Trying to be outside, and then you realize that it's 30 degrees. Unfortunately, it's what we have to deal with. With me, I've actually been very lucky and blessed with East Windsor. Since I've been there, we've been outside in April back-to-back years, which has been awesome. We did actually play Killingly yesterday. I thought it was going to be probably 30, 40 degrees. It jumped up a little bit to about 50, so it wasn't too bad. I kept telling myself I'm going to have to coach in a beanie for the first time in my life, but I was able to have my hat on and, have a fun time with Ben out there.
You spoke about playing against Killingly, and I know Ben's been a part of the program for some years now, and he's done such a great job there. And obviously, I know you and him have a connection, obviously from the coaching aspect, how with Tolland as well. Seeing all those young coaches, right? And I mentioned that in a tweet early on. That's got to feel pretty good knowing that like the next crop of young coaches, and you know a lot of them as well.
Absolutely. I would take Ben, for example. He got his first varsity job, I want to say around 19 years old, 1920, somewhere along those lines. And that's just remarkable. So to see someone like him, someone like Howie, even, Bill Kennison over at Chinny, who's a little older than us, just to see someone that has passion and love and care for the game and does it the right way.
Mhm.
You don't have to scream and yell at umpires. You don't have to toss things. And then you're just telling kids, having kids love the game again, beating them on and off the field, hustling, picking each other up. And, I try to tell to my team all the time that, especially for Summer and my assistants, when we do go up against Ben, I tell them, this is one of the guys that coaches almost exactly like me. And that's nothing, not to take anything away from him. But we're both very energized, both very active, both very passionate, and everything is about we over me. And I just love that mentality, and I think that's really starting to take over and change, especially now that baseball is changing. And I just want baseball to grow back, and that's what I'm trying to do at East Windsor right now.
And you mentioned about baseball changing, and it's a good thing I have you on because the question I've been asking various people from high school to college to a couple scouts that I've been able to talk to, you know about the Tommy John epidemic with pitchers of late. I mean, it was like they were dropping like flies every
Yeah.
hour. It was Bieber, then it was Loizaga. I mean, I could go on and on. Strider, who technically is not having Tommy John yet. More than likely he will be once he gets that second and third option, opinion and such. But the question I have for you is not so much, hey, how is this going to get fixed? Because obviously nobody has the answer to that. But for you as a coach who coaches young men who see the way that these pitchers, right, see the way that they're playing. And let's be honest, velocity has been the wave now for about 10 to probably 15, if not more years, right? So how, as you've seen this, has that kind of maybe made your brain kind of think a little bit as you've been driving from Connecticut to New Hampshire and such?
I think I've always had a different mentality and or approach, especially when it comes to arm care and, kids, growing up, I was a pitcher catcher, played a little shortstop, absolutely hated the outfield. But what was happening growing up, we were able to pitch, then catch, and then go back to pitch and then catch again. And, I ended up having some arm problems and, I just try to be different. And, I don't want to find out that a 14, 15, 16-year-old kid ends up losing their career because I was chasing a win and throwing a kid 115, 120 pitches. I remember I would say, what, 4 or 5 years ago, I was actually coaching at TCB. We were playing a team called Gap to Gap, and we were up by 2 runs. I had my ace going. He was probably at 70, 75 pitches. And this is, probably, I'd say 35 games into the season at this point. So, I mean, all of our arms were built up, and I went and pulled him. He wasn't doing anything wrong. I was just like, I don't need to take the chance on this kid. I'm good with, if we lose and, I made a decision, I'm fine with that. If, I go out there and throw him another 10, 15, 20 pitches, and as I'm sure in travel ball, there's no restrictions.
Mhm.
So it's really just coaching prerogative of, hey, I want to throw the kid 120 and then throw him the next day, or it's, hey, let's be smart and be a little bit more realistic. So I think I have a personal touch on it with how I grew up and running into some arm problems that I don't want to throw kids all the time. And then additionally, I think I love chasing 90 and I love chasing 100. And I think everyone wants those metrics. It's awesome. It's what you want. But I tell my kids all the time, trust your defense, pitch to contact, do what you got to do, and we'll see what happens. Because one of my favorite pitchers of all time was Greg Maddux, and he didn't even touch 90. I just think there's so much more you can do than try to chase 90, try to chase 100, and then throw 120 pitches and then try to throw again.
I thought Bassett from the Blue Jays made a good point. I don't know if you saw the video. I don't know how long ago it was rather. It may have been a year or two ago. I have to go back and look. But he made the comment about how he was in spring training and there was a guy who threw probably 90 91. His ERA was about 3.7, right? And then there was another guy who was 98 to 99. His ERA was about a run higher. It was over 4. Now, next spring training, the guy throwing 91 was a non-roster invitee. The 98 to 99 made the roster and he was basically on the team. He just had to not get hurt. But the point that he was trying to make was, and I've said this for some time, just with conversations, not even so much with the pitching side, but kind of how people view lineup construction and the whole thing with the home runs and all that, right? Until we incentivize guys who throw, I don't want to say soft because I threw 72. That was soft. But 90, 91, 92 with movement and such, that can have success. Same thing for batting, where guys who can hit for contact, not so much for power, put the ball in play, spray the ball around the field, left, center, right, and so on. Until we incentivize that, I feel like it's going to be a hard case to show teams like, hey, this is the right way, or this is maybe the way we should be going because guys are dropping like flies.
Absolutely. And I think you hit the nail on the head. And, there's an old quote that says, I don't care how hard you throw ball for. And, because we are chasing those metrics, kids are trying to be so high and so awesome because this is what gets you to the next level. And this is what everyone's saying, you have to do this or you don't play. And, I think you can do a lot of small things correctly and still play at the next level. And I completely agree with you until we have an influx that I would say of players getting drafted or players playing at a high level and being on national TV that do not do the 100 101. Everyone's going to continue to try to chase it. And unfortunately, I'm not saying my way is the right way, but unfortunately, you have a lot of, what us coaches like to call, online coaches at times that may go, I'm going to get you to the D1 level. I'm going to get you to the pro level. You just have to pay me $300 an hour. And here's my program. And then the kid's hurt in a week. And that's, where my fear is. And, I don't like to say, again, my way is the right way, but even how the game and the show is changing of let's do a drop and drive and hit home runs and bring in fans. I've just never been a fan of that personally. And I think I'm a little biased because I was not a home run hitter. I was not the guy coming up and, hey, I can win the game on one swing. I was a small ball guy and, I coach the same exact way. Get them on, get them over, get them in. Let's just do a job. And I think that gets kids to the next level. And, not to beat a dead horse, but when we were playing Killingly and we were down in the beginning, 1-0, I want to say in the third, one of my players actually said, let's just do the small things correctly and we'll stick with them. And unfortunately, they timed us up, they made adjustments and, we were not able to do that. But that's what matters to me. Defense wins games, pitching wins games. And I just don't think, you going and hitting 10, 20, 30, 40 home runs and having 500 strikeouts is the future of baseball, personally.
I almost feel like because as far as the pitching side is concerned, the arm was not built to throw at a certain velocity. I mean, obviously guys like Jamie Moyer and such, even at Tommy John, if I recall, had some sort of elbow problems. But
Yep.
that's because again, that's like 35, 40 years of pitching and throwing. I mean, at the time, 300 innings was considered like the low end. Now, I was watching the Yankee game yesterday, and this has been a regular thing with Clark Schmidt not going past five. He couldn't go past four and a third. I mean, not being able to get length. I mean, and I heard, I want to say it was Michael Kay. I could be wrong, but he said nowadays managers are not looking at the pitcher, like starting pitcher wins. They're looking at the team wins. But in
Yep.
terms of a team, and this kind of goes to the high school level, where the pitching in terms of the quantity is maybe not as big in terms of guys that can pitch at the varsity level. If you're not able to get depth, that then thus puts more pressure on the bullpen. Obviously, the major league level, it's maybe a little bit different, but the point is, if you don't have the depth, it's really going to show early on.
I completely agree. And I think that's absolutely right. Obviously we don't play nine, but in reality, if I can get my starting pitcher to go 5, 6 innings and, he's at 50, 60, 70 pitches, depending on where we're at, that's a win in my book. And, last year when we won the Crow, I had significantly more depth than I do this year. So this year I'm going to have to piece together most of my games, having freshmen and sophomores playing varsity, and not having as many seniors or juniors that are able to carry the team per se. But that's the whole piece of now. It's just I throw hard, 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 hard. I'm tired. Take me out. Oh, who cares that the game's 4-0? Versus, hey, I'm going to do my job. I'm going to go the distance, and that's what the challenge always was. Let's go the distance, and I just don't think baseball is doing that anymore, and it's very unfortunate for me. When I started realizing they're really changing MLB, the argument is always they're doing it for more fans and they're doing it to get the guy that doesn't want to go to a baseball game normally. Then you run into me. I don't care if I'm at a baseball game for 4 or 5 hours. I don't care that I'm hanging out there having fun. I don't care if no home runs are hit. I don't care if we win or lose 1-0. Those are games that actually mean something and go a longer way than what it is now. And I just personally, I'm just not a fan.
Now, you mentioned how the team is a part, or the league that you're in. That's the Crawl League. You said correct.
Yes.
Now, how long have you guys been a part of the Crawl League?
So this is going to be our second year. So last year was our first. Unfortunately, coming into East Windsor, it's not what, some big name schools are. Don't get me wrong, love it, great kids. I have a phenomenal athletic director, Dean Edwards, who just came aboard this year. And I don't think in the years I've been doing this, I've ever had more support from someone and having him understand that we're trying to build something. But we just did not have the numbers last year. So we actually co-opt. And after the co-op, somehow, some way, we ended up getting the Crow schedule. And so we played in that, and then we're playing it again this year. And now that numbers are starting to creep up a little bit, thankfully, we're working on running summer camps starting next week. Actually starting this week, this coming Saturday after my practices, I sent an invite to the middle schoolers saying, if you guys want to get work in, come hang out for an hour after my practice. And, that's where we're trying to build. But because those numbers are getting up again, we're back in the NCCC starting next year, which I'm thrilled about. Do I think we're going to be as, competitive in the sense of winning? I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see what we have coming in. But my thing has and always will be, and I learned this a long time ago. Yes, I want to win. Yes, you're going to lose. I don't care what anyone says. Winning is important. But for me, I just want to be competitive. Are we doing the small things correctly? Are we doing the best we can? And I'm a big energy guy and being at 100%. Are you staying up on yourself, up by 20 or down by 20, or are you getting punched in the mouth and then you're going, oh, I quit. I don't want to do this anymore. And that's what I think we're trying to change that environment over at East Windsor right now, which I think we're on the right path. But only time will tell.
If you could, and if you're willing to share, what exactly was kind of hurting the numbers? Because again, I know depending on, and fill me in on East Windsor a little bit. I know obviously you have Windsor High School, so that's kind of going to take some of the numbers. I don't know if there's any, prep schools, if there's any parochial schools or anything like that outside that can kind of draw kids away. But what kind of was making the kids, or maybe two sport athletes or one sport athlete, it's like, you know what? I just want to focus on whatever the sport is. What was keeping the numbers so small at the time?
I personally believe, prior to me getting there, they were kind of hit or miss. They, won a little bit, then they lost some. I mean, when we won the crowd, that was the first baseball championship in 50 years. So I think the first thing that, brings attention back to a program is winning. I think kids and families, no matter if you're playing God's gift to baseball or you're playing Joe Smo from down the street, parents want their kids to win, kids want to win, and they want to be a part of something. So I think that is part of it. But I think the biggest issue that we've ran into is what's different than us and many other programs is we do not have a little league program. We do not have a middle school program. We do not have a freshman or a JV team. So not having a feeder program is what really hurts us. And they're co-opt, well, merged, I should say, with South Windsor for Little League, which is cool. I'm happy some kids are getting reps, but until I think that comes back, I think it's going to be very hard to build that back up. There's South Windsor Legion, which they do a phenomenal job. But they're not, it's not even that travel programs are really around East Windsor as much, unless you're going out to like where I am in Manchester, or you're going down towards Massachusetts, or you're going out towards the water, wherever that may be. But until we're able to build that back up and remind kids that it is fun, it is a game, I think it's going to be very hard to build those numbers. But I do think we're on the right track in the sense of having this summer camp with the rec department, doing weekly workouts with the middle schoolers, me popping up at South Windsor's Little League and saying, hey, I'm the coach, here I am. Let me know if you need anything. I've offered South Windsor Legion the same exact thing. I've offered the rec department the same exact thing. And I think you just need to be a presence. And I just don't know if anyone ever really had that crazy mentality. I think I'm very blessed and I'm a very outgoing, energetic, fun guy. And I'm going to be here, there, and everywhere. And I'm also blessed that I have my own schedule. I do what I want. So I can pop up at the school, be there all day, pop in classrooms, talk to the teachers, be with the kids, high five kids in the hallway, and I've always been a big fan of pride and brand. So if I'm not in one of my suits for work because I have a meeting, I'm either wearing Mayhem with a Panther hat, or I'm wearing Panthers with the Mayhem hat. And, branding yourself and branding the program just goes a long way. And I think that's what we're starting to change. And, we have some kids that have never played baseball before, but they're going to be here for 2 to 3 years and they're going to get better. And, I'm just really happy about that.
That was my next question I was going to ask, because obviously you can't predict how long it's going to take to kind of really, because you're starting this thing from literally the ground up when it comes to the feeder program. And when you look at any successful program, obviously what Ben does in the quiet corner, right? In the ECC with Killingly, I can go to my neck of the woods in the NVL. I know parochial schools of Holy Cross and St. Paul, but then you've got obviously the Torrentons of the world. You've got the Wolcotts who have a young team this year, and baseball is huge in Wolcott. Not Wolcott, it's Wolcott. Some people get that wrong, but
I
they're
thought it was
able.
hot too, to be honest.
I'm telling you, it's one of those things I hear when I do football games as well. I'm like, it's Wolcott, not Wolcott. But the point I'm trying to make is, how long do you think? Because you're a young guy, you're fiery. You, obviously, like you said, your schedule is very, very flexible. You don't have all these different hats as far as like a day job and a second job plus the coaching and then everything else. So, do you feel like it's going to be not a short term? I'm not saying a year, but a couple years of trying to get the thing started through, like you said, the younger levels and then build it through?
I think that's a great question. I think it's very hard to put a timetable on it, but what I've told myself, and this is from when I've taken over a program, when I was in a program, if I was building something from the scratch, whatever the case may be, I've always thought 3 years. Year one is breakdown, year two is build up, year three is championship. And that's how I treat my AU programs, that's how I treat my high school programs, that's how I treat businesses that I take over. Of I got to break everything down, see what we have, visualize if I can build with these guys, with this team, and then after that, now let's go take over the world. So do I think it's going to be a 3 year process? I think it's going to be longer, but I do believe we're able to do what I want to do in 3 years. So, for example, we have one player that came up from the middle school this year. That's a freshman, Cooper King. Great kid, great family. I've known the family for years. And the father and I talked. He's like, Cooper wants to play for you. Can't wait. So the kid came in, super excited, and I'm like, oh, this is perfect. But having one freshman come up from an entire middle school class is, heartbreaking. And having that kid being told, you're in the starting lineup for varsity. You're doing exactly what I need you to do. Just understand, you may not be as successful as you want to be year one. And, but I think down the road, when he's in year three, year four, and he's had 4 years of varsity, then it's even better for him. But I think that's what's actually going to build us back up in the sense of 3 years, because even when we won the Crowd Championship last year, I remember the guy that runs the Crowd, John Weiner, was like, "Hey, Darron, do you want to play at home? You're the higher seed, or do you want to come play on this turf field?" And the first thing I was like, "John, I appreciate it, but we're playing at home." I go, "It's not even a home field advantage thing of I want, my fans and I want this." It was this is the first time I knew we were going to win it. I said, no ands, ifs, or buts about it. We're winning, Crowd. You get me in a championship game, I'll put all chips on me any day of the week, win, lose, or tie. But after we won it, I remember we had this kid, Cooper, who plays for me now, actually was on the sidelines. He was in just a East Windsor shirt with some shorts on. And I literally was like, Coop, jump in the photo. So he jumped in the team photo. And then there was another kid next to him who at the time I didn't know who he was. But he was a sixth grader, and I told him the same exact thing to jump in the photo. So now you have these two middle schoolers that their first image of East Windsor prior to going to high school is we're in a photo with these varsity guys. They just won. That could be me next year, the year after, the year after that. And that's why I say it's a 2 to 3 year program at minimum. But at max, I think we're going to be, I don't want to say a powerhouse because I never believe in, overselling or overpromising, but I do believe we'll be competitive in the NCCC, do what I want to do. And if, we make states every single year and, win a game here, lose a game there, I can live with that because it's better than what we were. And, I tell my kids all the time, I tell my staff is, I don't care how successful we get, what happens, just remember the job's not done. Just keep working, keep pushing, keep striving, because good isn't good enough if it can be better. Better isn't better enough if it can be the best.
And like you said too, being able to get that collectiveness of being able to bring in not just obviously the present team that you had at the time when they won the championship in the crawl, but you also were able to bring in a couple kids who were not even part of the team yet. And now, again, not knowing what that's going to look like down the road, but you think about the trickle down effect of how things kind of work their way through, you just never know what can happen with that as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, I think we're getting a lot of, support from the community. I remember when we were in the Crowd Championship, I said to one of my assistants at the time, I go, I don't think I've ever seen East Windsor have this many people at the game. And I mean, the parents had an entire cookout set up after the game. The kids were having a blast. Everyone was there. And it was awesome. And, with the new AD that we have, I mean, he's getting me a new scoreboard, he's getting me new cages, he's getting me all the baseballs I need. He's saying, "What equipment do you want? Hey, let's work on new jerseys." And just even having that support means a lot. And I think it builds excitement. I remember one of my first practices outside this year. I had the kids in a circle, and after we warm up and we do our cardio and they take their lap, as they're stretching, I'll just pace around the circle and see everyone eye to eye and have a conversation. And one of the conversations I was saying, it was like, you guys are all, with the exception of two of you, are all underclassmen. we're going to be able to build something and build something special that you can remember for the next few years. And the cool thing about it is I'm going to be here, you're going to be here. But what I need from you now is go find another guy, one of your friends, someone that you've been there with for a long time, and just push and challenge them to come back out to baseball. And we picked up 2 to 3 guys from that. And I remember one of the kids, Ray, who's a senior this year, literally was like, Coach, I haven't played baseball in 10 years or whatever it may be. And he goes, I'm just having so much fun. And I didn't realize that's what it was. And don't get me wrong, you want to be competitive, you want to win, you want to do everything it takes, but you got to enjoy it, because at the end of the day, and my captain, Lee Braun, even said it, when we were playing Killingly, he goes, that was just fun. We just had a blast. Let's just do our job and keep going. And that's all you want from kids and these days, in my opinion.
Darren, I appreciate you coming on. This was a great conversation. I love talks that we had. Best of luck as far as the rest of this season. Stay in touch and just keep doing what you're doing, man. Seriously.
Awesome. Chris, I really do appreciate you having me on. If you ever need anything, feel free to give me a shout, and make sure you stay safe and healthy, brother.
Appreciate it. That wrap things up in the CT Sports Talent Show. So next time, stay safe. Mary CT stands for Connected Talent. I'm a dream, find them all. Do this shit, everybody, and be well.